July 19.
With those prompts, you can do certain things, and then advanced stuff may not be automated. Like say, for example, let's say the demo which I may share it today is that let's say I kind of go and search somebody's name on the site, right? And then I want to get some information from LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook together in one summary format, kind of a thing, right? Or let's say um, I want to kind of compare two or three blogs and then write a third blog for my own website. So of course, you can always do that with something with prompting, but it becomes too complicated, right? And to simplify that, we have few tools available, which we can use to write or build these GenAI applications. So for that purpose, there are few projects which have come up. Two popular ones are in the space is LangChain, and there's something called as Llama Index.
Both come up very often, at least for me.
Yeah,
I'm searching and learning
correct.
today. Yep.
Yeah. So LangChain and the Llama Index. So I think so LangChain you can compare with kind of a say Llama Index, but Llama Index kind of primarily being used to kind of connect data source and build the applications. That is the primary use case of Llama Index, that you can connect your data sources easily with Llama Index and build the applications. But that may be, I mean, that may be a edge till LangChain did not had enough, uh, you can say plugins for that. But now LangChain also have enough connections or enough plugins to build those complex data pipelines as well. So LangChain and Llama Index, you can say both are used to build the applications for GenAI. um, Now, what I again, I'm not an expert in both of them, but what I have been reading is LangChain has been implementing the recent research work more fast, much faster than the Llama Index. So, and it has been having more adoption in the community. So, LangChain is the tool to build the application. Now, there's something called as LangSmith, which
And
is
quick question: these are open source
yeah,
tools,
yeah,
but they're maintained by private companies. So
yes,
there's I because I see pricing, right? It's Gamma Index. LangChain has a bunch of libraries. Mostly I found them in Python libraries, but they also have a a cloud offering, like something that you pay for, or that is not the source code, but the source code is open source, right?
yeah, it is available. So from the LangChain perspective, there are two things which is coming for the paid version. One is LangSmith, which you can think of similar to your OpenTelemetry.
Also, LangChain is the open source framework
Yeah,
project, and the
to
LangSmith is their like
language which is
runner runtime. Okay.
open telemetry, simple. So basically, let's say when you connect multiple application sorry one multiple applications together, right? Like say you connect with your data source, you connect with your LLM, you connect with
Yep.
some third party endpoints. So how do you make sure that okay, where is my time is being spent, how much tokens I'm consuming, and all those things, right? So for
Okay.
that purpose, that is what a LangSmith is. So you can see here, I may have something old, no I don't have, but
Translated to our world of like containers and
open telemetry,
microservices is like
open
tracing,
telemetry,
right?
tracing, yes, tracing,
Observability.
observability, yes,
Yeah.
correct. So they're going to charge for that particular part. That is their what how they're going to make money. That's
Okay.
a Langsmith, right? And then what they're building on top of it, which is um, not yet published per se, Lang Graph Cloud. So now, what is Lang Graph? Okay, so before I go to Lang Graph, I believe you would have heard about a term called agents, right? Now, what are agents are? Agents are nothing but the things which you want to do as a group. So let's say we are discussing here about something, right? Let's say let's say we discuss. Okay, let's
I'm
let's
building an
write.
agent actually.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk
I'm
about.
building an agent that is basically a program. I'm using Amazon Bedrock, but it's just through that I can use a lot of models like Cloud and Llama. But I'm
Mhm.
building an agent that is a Kubernetes agent. It's called the
Okay.
EKS Kubernetes agent,
Hmm.
and basically it's a the interface is a chatbot, but not necessarily. But
Yeah,
I'm doing it in a way that I can ask questions like fix my system, debug my system, tell me what is wrong, and
yeah.
then tell it like go ahead and try to run it, and then I do function calling, and actually I run in Python the CLI, the kubectl CLI, to get information or create a cluster and then fix the ingress and install Helm, and that's kind of like something that they call assistant, right? Maybe I'm creating an assistant.
Yeah, so just to simplify a bit, what is an agent per se? Agent is nothing but which is like the way we kind of offload our work to somebody, right? And then does something for us and then return back,
Yep.
right? So for example, let's say if we are let's say an example of a news thing, right? So there is a person who work on the field, right? He would see something, he would write something and send it to his maybe manager or something, right? They would kind of write the article, it will go to the editor, and editor would say, okay, this looks good, I'll publish it. Or the editor can say, no, this doesn't look good, go and find out more details about a given case, go something, find out, write it better way, and so on, so forth, right? So there are different role people are playing here. One is a writer, other is a reviewer, and third is a kind of a say um, somebody who publisher, right?
Oh,
Right.
workflows with tasks, I guess, right?
Yeah, so they are flows, right? So you kind of you want to build these flows, right? So that is an agent. So basically that you do with the with the help of agents. So you write these different agents. So Lang with the help of LangChain, you can write these agents. And now to write these agents, they have built this tool called LangGraph. So LangGraph is a tool through which you can build these agents, like what you see here, right? Um, so you basically start with something. You assistant is nothing but your LLM, you can say,
I
and
see.
then you kind of give it some tools to it. So, for example, if we talk about in the Kubernetes terms, maybe we can say there may be a tool which can look at the logs of
Yep.
the
That's what I'm doing.
uh,
I'm using Kate's
yeah,
GPT to get to
yeah.
analyze what is wrong with the cluster, and that will
Correct. So
be a
basically,
tool.
correct. So that would be a tool, right? So there can be a tool which will find out information about HTTP, so on and so forth, right? So assistant, basically you say, you go to the AI would kind of have these tools or based on your question. So for example, if I'm asking a question, is my disk is full, right? Now, if your disk is full, what you will do is you want to go and check the disk capacity and then see what is the percentage of it is full,
Yeah, that's
right?
function calling. A lot of the models have that capability, and
Yeah,
they're like
so function
consolidated to
calling,
function
yes,
calling.
correct. So function calling next level becomes an agent, right?
Yeah.
So basically, we kind of create these different tools for our purpose, right? System task like is my disk is full? Am I running out of memory? Am I my CPU load is too high? What should I do? So if depending on the query, what I would have, I would register different tools. So one tool talks about load average, one tool talks about CPU like memory, one talks about IO, for example, right? So based on your query, the AI would pick up, okay, which particular tool I should pick up, and it would kind of go and try to pick up that tool and then try to find out if it can find the response is perfectly fine. Otherwise, it can again go back and then talk to the assistant tool again. For example, to find the performance of a given system, I may need the tool of disk, CPU, memory, and maybe whatever other stuff also, right? So I'll kind of try to call these tools one by one, and then only when I can give a concrete answer, then I would say it's done, right? And then I'll kind of go and say end, or there are some other stuff also there. But the idea is that we kind of build these flows, and these flows would run in a loop until the LLM satisfied that okay, whatever the question has been asked, was I able to answer that or not, right? So that is what the Lang graph is. So again, quickly, LangChain is going to help us build these GenAI applications. Then and the kind of say, advanced GenAI application would have some kind of an agents uh, to which we can offload the work. like the example KP, you can go and look at three different blog posts, come back to me, and then I'll write something, right? So we can do more of these additional kind of a say advanced level work with agents. And LangGraph is a tool to build these agents in much more simpler way. Though the LangChain by itself you can use to build the agents, but LangGraph is specifically built for that, right? And LangSmith is a tool to do the observability of the entire GenAI application. Now, what is LangFlow? So, LangFlow is another tool which is built in parallel, which I think is not part of the same organization there. Sorry, it's long, not close. LangFlow. Yeah. So LangFlow is a tool which is now acquired by a company called DataStax. And this is kind of going to help you write these prompts in a nice UI way. All right. So I'll give you one example of that. But before that, let's try to quickly look at one example of an agent. I'll not go over too much of a detail. I was just doing some course on some on the internet, and through which what we can do is, let's say if I want to find out some information about Carlos, for example, right? And I know I can look at his LinkedIn profile and make a summary out of it, right? So there's an agent which is there. So let me quickly do that. So again, it's a text based for now. So let's say I'm just going to write down here Carlos. Hopefully my okay. Let me increase the
TANA.
uh, yeah, and I'll say
Can you make it a
AWS.
little bit bigger?
Yeah,
Just
that is what I was thinking is
do a
how I
command
can.
plus.
Yeah, that did not work actually.
Oh, using IntelliJ.
Yeah, it is
Is the
intelligence.
fonts in the? I don't know if folks can see it. I can zoom on my end.
No, it's fine. So basically, again, I'll not go too much of a detail. What I'm trying to write, just trying to show you an example of an agent. What this
Okay.
agent is doing at a high level that this agent would basically go this. So I would write a. So this is a GenAI application. Here, if you give somebody's name, it would try to find out like the way, for example, it has done for me. It is saying here, Nipendra Khare is founder and whatever, and then an interesting fact about Nipendra is written a book on Docker, something like that, right? So it will kind of go and look at a LinkedIn profile, find the information about it, and then present it to you. So I'll run this particular thing now. So what's happening? It's kind of running an agent which would first of all figure out what is the profile of Carlos, right? There can be many profile for Carlos, but so it did not find out, right? In a way, is that your profile? No, right?
No,
No, it okay. It did not go directory only. It did not go to the something has happened here. So of
you
course,
can put the
agent
key,
is
the handle, just the handle. See Santana PR.
yeah. Let's see. Yeah.
So that first search, who's doing it?
So first, I was going to search out. I'll just show you 1 minute. Let's see if it continues. No, it has gone some. Oh, it's gone right now. I think
Yeah, I found
no.
some. I found it. I think the LinkedIn one is correct.
Yeah, correct. As you can see here, right?
Ah, interesting. Okay.
Uh, can I increase the size of it? And anybody knows how to use? I'm using first time the IntelliJ one. I sort of become the
I think
okay.
it's in the editor.
Somewhere should be there. That's what I was trying to figure out. View or somewhere. Yeah, font size. Decrease the font size. Yes. Yeah. Where did it go? Okay.
I
Hopefully
see.
it will
Okay,
resume.
that was
Yeah.
the trick. It's shift up
Yeah. Yeah.
the up arrow.
Correct.
Yeah.
So as you can see here, what I just kind of gave here, and it kind of told us what it is doing, right? Right. So what I have here is I'm using a tool called not Google Search, but a tool called um, uh, Trivily. There's a tool called Tevily. So with Tavily,
Heavily.
I basically Tavily, right? So basically with this, I would kind of go and do a search for a given profile,
Search
and
dot
then
run
go,
and then pass the
yeah,
and then
so
get back the
then
URL.
yes,
Interesting.
well, give me a URL back, and then with that URL, what we'll be doing is, so it's kind of goes there, and then what happens is we kind of go and send a request to kind of we build a prompt in saying that given a LinkedIn profile about a person, I wanted to create a short summary and interesting article. So what happens now is it would this is a chain. What you're talking about, LangChain, right? What's called chain, because you can chain different things to different Python
Yeah.
functions, which you call as an agent in a way, right?
It
Or
pipes. It pipes using the pipe. It uses the
yeah,
Linux pipe, right?
yes, correct. It's a it is
In
not.
Python, is that a valid character? I never thought.
No, the
I'm not an
LangChain has
expert in
built
Python.
LangChain has built it. So again, it's not a pipe per se in a way. Yeah, so the kind of so LangChain is kind of treating it differently. So with this, it kind of builds a chain. So now
Okay.
it Python understands it for sure. Um,
So the output of this goes into the input of the LLM object, and then the
yes.
output of the LLM object goes to the next
Correct.
function,
Correct.
right?
That is what is called chain, right? And then this is how you invoke a chain. So what once I build a chain here, I'm going to say chain invoke and give
Oh, so
an example.
nothing have run at line 27. It's just
No, no.
building what the work or the
Yes,
workflow definition.
correct. So once you invoke it, so what happens is in the terms of LangChain, there's an object called runnable. So you make something as a runnable and then it runs. So then you can run it as an invoke and you can run it as a batch.
Oh, batch.
And the few
Interesting.
different operations are batch. Yeah. There are three different ways by which you can kind of execute some of these runnables. Again, that's another whole world of Gen AI. I think let's not go too much of that. But the idea is that
So
we are
what?
kind of
Sorry. So what are you passing here? Linking data is a URL. Or it's actually the text from LinkedIn.
so basically that we would have got from here.
Oh, you did a scrape.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we did a so it's scrape in a way that basically this function would basically go and there's a site is there. So basically, which is this one. Where is that tool? I think the tools only, no, not tools.
Which is another
Uh,
tool in your agent,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Your
I'll tell
assistant.
you. Yeah, yeah, correct. Yeah, so
So you
that's
basically take
kind
a
of
URL and give me back the
yeah,
text that responds
correct,
back in
correct. Yeah, yeah,
HTTP. Okay.
right. That is how it is. So, what is that tool? It should be somewhere here. LinkedIn.py. So yeah, this is a tool which is not this one. Yeah, I think this is the one. Yeah, this is called proxy curl. So proxy curl is a tool.
Covera.co. Okay.
Yeah, so
I
proxy curl
didn't
is a
something I
tool.
learned today.
Yeah, this is also something new for me today. So you can make a LinkedIn call, and this they have really interesting things. So for example, you can actually
Very
uh,
rich data about people and companies.
yeah. So you can. So there are a few different, like for example, you can actually track who is changing the company, when they're changing the company, and all that stuff, right? And they have a product called Linked DB, so you can download 450 million people data
Oh wow.
uh, under your thing, and then you can play with it. So you can actually like do a lot of interesting things.
Yeah, I keep telling yeah, work that data is the new API.
Yeah,
Actually this year, last year is actually true. We have been
yeah,
saying it for many years.
yeah. So yeah, that's about. Any other questions, guys? At a very high
What
level.
was the interesting fact at the bottom? Like I don't have anything interesting in my LinkedIn. What did it
It's
say?
there. I presented at various presentation conferences, DockerCon, KubeCon, open source summits, live webinars, meetups, events, showcasing the knowledge. Yeah.
Okay, it's accurate but not interesting. But yeah, I'm very boring.
So it only got data from the LinkedIn profile. Now, if you
Yeah.
can get the data from Facebook and
Interesting.
Twitter, maybe it may do better job. But
Interesting.
still it's okay. And of course, currently I'm using I believe this is I'm using the
So let's talk about the model. So in this case, you
yeah,
are calling
currently.
a
So
model
currently,
through an
yeah,
API,
yeah.
but we
So
can use what we have done in the last few weeks of like, and that's why I got the Jetson of like running Ollama, which are a local API, so we can run that model in the Raspberry Pi, right, or the
yeah,
Jetson.
Now, so I'll
something
show
that
you
has a
one thing.
GPU
Correct,
even.
correct. Yeah, yeah. So currently I run this model, I believe, on top of my Llama 3 machine. But if we run it on OpenAI, we may get better result, I believe. So where is this define LLM? Yeah, LLM here. Chat. No, this is turbo only. So basically, if
Yeah.
we go with a different model, we may get a better
Well,
result.
what this I wanting to be careful with these models, and why you get different results if you use your Ollama or local
Uh,
AI is like if you're using it against, like we did in the Raspberry Pi, and now I'm doing with the Jetson with the GPU.
mm,
uh, all the information that that model has is in the weights. When you
ah,
call this, and not to pick on OpenAI, but when you call a a cloud API, like an API that somebody's hosting that model, and you give it a model name,
mm,
not necessarily the information you're getting back is in that model. They could be taking that prompt and then running to the model, maybe getting back like I didn't get enough information, and they can do their own RAG, right? Going to
yeah,
the website and then looking online and doing a Google search. So maybe last year you were getting bad results because you were only
yeah,
like getting the information from the weights. I think this year what I'm seeing is these models now are not responding anymore. I don't know if you tried these tools last year, but usually they say, "Oh, I don't have data until 2021 or
yes,
2020,"
yes, yeah,
and
of
you
course.
run the same query today that you did last year, and
Mm.
suddenly has data from last week. So
Yeah,
they're
of course.
actually
Yeah.
doing search, they're doing RAG, they're searching online, or doing augmentation, right?
Yeah,
Not
so
just the
what
model
not
itself.
all the tools, not all the tools can do, but I think tools called perplexity kind of a
Perplexity is
thing
very good.
they
Yeah.
can do it, but I don't think ChatGPT 4 and other stuff can do unless you kind of attach something. So that's what tools are built, right? The tools can be the Google search for me, right? So I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
pull the
but what I'm
same.
trying to say is just because what I'm trying to say, not to pick on OpenAI, just an example. You send this
Hmm.
prompt to the API of OpenAI.
Hmm.
It's not guaranteed that they're only going to use the model. They can take that prompt and do search queries on the internet and get information from last night,
Yeah,
and then
so of
send it to
course.
the model and give you back the answer that
Yeah,
includes
yeah.
context from last night.
Correct, correct. Yes, that may be a possibility because as they would use the tools behind the scene, and that
They
is
will,
how they would be
they're doing
building.
this chaining that you show, right? They're
Correct.
doing
Yes.
the similar things.
Yep. Okay. So quickly, I'll just talk about land graph also in a minute, and then I think maybe we'll finish our time also. So, but anyway, so if
And
you
by the
see,
way, one if you don't know about I'll add a link. But Perplexity runs on Kubernetes.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, somebody told me that. Yeah, so this is my instance, hosted instance of LangFlow. So what we can do here is we can just drag and drop and execute and build our own chat GenAI applications to do different stuff. As you can see, there is an axis of different things. So the way, let me kind of go and start with a new thing. So for the new project, I'll say, let's say blog writer is my project name. Um, Now, what you can do here is you can should start, I believe, with the prompt. So let's say I want to build a prompt, I'll just bring this
Oh
prompt here.
wow! So
Correct?
this looks like the what's the project I work? I work on this project in IBM a long time ago. I think it was I think for IoT. What's the name? Red Cloud. It uses similar UI and JavaScript. We did a lot of work on
Yeah,
this
yeah.
on IoT.
There's so many of
Um,
them right now. Correct. Yeah.
but you're saying that these low code, no code, like boxes. I'm kind of building behind the scenes the Python code that you build, right, with
Yeah.
LangChain libraries.
This is the LangChain code only, actually.
Oh, it's give you back the code. Interesting. I
Yes.
think I'm asking the obvious. Okay, so you're going to show. um,
Yeah.
oh,
So,
LangFlow, right, which is a wrapper like matching the component to LangFlow, and then LangFlow, I guess, under the hood we use million
LangChain.
more LangChain or a million more libraries. I'm noticing that I have
Yeah, yeah.
the more I
So,
do Python, the more code I'm touching
yeah.
everywhere,
Correct,
and
correct.
more code that I need to scan for security.
Right. Yeah, so this is kind of built on top of LangChain, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, so what can happen is with this, once you kind of like the way I kind of drag and drop the prompt here. Now, what we can do is with this prompt. So let's say my prompt is to look at two blogs, and those become my reference blogs. And based on that, give me my new blog, kind of a thing, right? So I'll just remove this from here. This is my prompt which I have got. And now I'm going to write my prompt, which I want to use. So in this case, I'm saying, hey, look at this reference. So this is a placeholder for a blog title or blog URL which you want to give, for example, right? So I'm saying, hey, go and look at this particular website's page, and then do something about it, right? Again, it's a variable. So now if I see here, so this prompt is being
Oh,
built.
those are variables.
Yeah, those are
Um,
variables. Yes. So I'm
I
saying that
think
now.
I have used Cloud UI, and you can do something similar. You put this prompt, and then the GUI gives you like the boxes to put
Yeah.
the variables place.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So here the instructions. So basically, see, if I say in this prompt, right, I'm saying that I want to have two inputs here, reference and give me instruction. So what I'm doing here is I'm getting two different inputs here. One is a URL input here. So I'll say input, get me, I think not input, data maybe. I'll say get me a URL, correct? And then I'll connect this URL to my this particular input here, reference in a way. Of
Interesting.
course, after parsing it, right? So you can see here I'm doing this URL, doing some parsing and then giving it to a reference. Similarly here, instruction is this instruction here by default, um, which is what, use the reference above the style, and whatever is this. Let me
Non-covered
see.
in non-covered top. So just non-covered topics.
Yes,
Interesting.
correct. See the reference, whatever. So like say, or whatever you want to do. Let's just look at the Kubernetes thing. So let's say we can give some reference first of all. Let's look at Kubernetes documentation, right? For example, oops, what's happening here? Yeah. So let's say pick up tutorials, concepts. Yeah. Let's just pick up security.
You're looking
And
for the blogs or URL?
so what
URL.
doesn't
Okay.
matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Article, right?
Yeah, article. Yeah. So I'll say that, okay, look at this particular thing and talk about the how to kernel security of Kubernetes API, right? So we can kind of go back. Where is that link? Yeah, here. So LangFlow URL. Hopefully this is the one. And then this pass the data, fine. And then we'll say write an article about Kubernetes. What is that? Security by referring the given article, given blog, whatever. Yeah. So this is how we'll do it, and then we'll give this to these two inputs to our prompt, which in which we are saying that, hey, refer this, and then write the blog for me, and then I'll say that this is what the thing is, and then there's going to be generating the output for me, so I can specify which particular thing I want to. I have to give my keys, of course, and then say playground here. So I will just say, I believe, just play here, right? What happened? Oh yeah, it has done something, right? Yeah,
I came back.
yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know how much that referred, but it should have referred, right? I had an article of communities by referring given this blog. Well, did it get that input or not? It should have got the input now, right? I don't think so, right?
That's the, yeah, did it? No?
Our article was about Yeah, it has done it. Yes, correct. Yeah, yeah. So
So
this
what's
is
the
this is
suggestion?
yeah. So this is you can do. And one more quick thing is I can also make an API call.
Hosted. So they're
Yeah. So this is kind of you can say like
interesting that they put
how
they hard coded the
correct. So
interesting
now
that they
this
hard coded the IP address, right? Instead of
yeah,
just
yeah.
in
So now we
a
can see that now. So this is running somewhere on a cloud, and then you can build your applications by different apps, right? Make a
but that
call
IP
for
address is what? It's
this is my
a
private. This is my VM machine. This is nothing much.
what you mean your VM machine?
Yeah, I'm running a VM on the cloud, right? So I can host
Oh,
this
so this
LangFlow on
is
my
this
environment.
LangFlow that I can run in my computer like offline?
Yes, yes, correct. Yeah.
Ah, interesting. So this is super cool then.
Yep.
It's a GUI for your Lang code. I thought all this time that you were going to a website and paying I'm paying money.
No, so for LangFlow, look, so all of these pairs are on one source, right? You can deploy on their own,
Oh,
right?
nice. So this is I found the one that I was referring to is called Node-RED. Very,
No.
very, very not saying that it's old, but I know the maintainer and the creator of it, and we
Mhm,
used to use it a lot for IoT. And it's using the like connecting like the inputs and the output of the Raspberry Pi of the pins IO ports.
mhm,
Um, it's called Node-RED, and it was in Node.js, and it had the similar GUI of connecting outputs to inputs and generating Node.js code. So yeah, this type of GUIs and interfaces are very good for people that are like hobbyists or getting started. At least for me,
Yeah, it is. It is.
it's
It is bliss, actually. I would say, right? So,
it's
I
a
mean,
learning tool. It's a great learning tool, right?
yeah, yeah, correct.
Because it
So you
gives you
can,
enough to do some getting something
yes,
working, and then you
yes.
can sit down and you want to learn the coding. You can start like modifying the code, and then basically you can. So if this is an API, can I just build a container?
I did already curl. Yes, I did already a curl here, and you can write a Python code, build a Docker image, and that's it done.
Yeah, right. This is how. So this is the code, right? So you just put the Python in the Docker
Yeah,
container, run it and
like
run in Kubernetes, and then
I
that'll be
just
the
ran.
API.
Yeah, I just ran this right now. Correct, as you can see here. I just ran the same
Interesting.
curl script here, and then it kind of triggered that particular flow for me, which is the flow which is given by internally by this thing.
Ah, but the model. Where's the model that you're calling
No,
in
no.
this
So
case?
basically, that's the whole idea, right? See, this is the public-facing endpoint, correct? I don't want to tell my end user what I'm doing behind the scene,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
correct?
No,
So
no,
let's
but
say I can,
your this code worked. Where is your model sitting? Using
yeah,
Ollama?
that no, 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 no. That is we saw that, right? It's a this thing, OpenAI. So
Ah,
I can,
you're calling out
yeah,
to OpenAI, but you can switch to Ollama,
yeah.
right? And then
You
or
can bring
local
anywhere.
AI.
Yeah, you can bring all of these things here.
Nvidia, touch Nvidia. What is it? What would it do in Nvidia? Interesting. Their new NIM. They only offer
Might
images.
so I don't know. This
Is it
maybe is
down?
on
Oh,
the
NIM. Yeah, this is NIM. So Nvidia is very popular. You get an API key, and basically you can like download the model and then just run it like Python, like
so this is
transformer, and then run it locally. But you need to have GPUs, right, to take advantage. Like the thing works.
yeah, yeah. That those are names, but this is I believe inferencing service only, right? So this will go to the Nvidia and run it there. Correct.
Uh
So of course, and there are multiple ways of doing things.
I don't
But
think
this
they
I
have like services to
it is it
inference.
is. I think it is it is. That's what they are saying right here. That's what Nvidia base URL. It will go there only. So
Interesting.
they'll have this service. This is a model serving endpoint. So they
Interesting.
would have they would have.
Okay. Most of the things that I do at work with Kubernetes is to download the images, like the NIM
Mhm.
images,
Yeah, yeah.
and then that why you need an API key.
Why do I
Um,
need?
the API key and NIM to download the image. But do they
Yeah,
have
yeah, so
like
names are different maybe, but see again, names I have not played with a bit much. I mean, but
which
you have
ones of
to.
these do you have like on the left? Can you scroll down to see if there's any of these that I can? Oh, Ollama. Yeah,
Yeah,
they have
exactly.
Ollama like we did the other week,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
yeah. So I have Ollama running as well. So
yeah.
I can bring it the Ollama here,
So
and
those two
then
are becoming very popular,
I
right?
deploy it
Everywhere that
here,
we see
and
in
I'll kind of
Ollama and
connect it. Yeah, yeah.
that's the only one that they have
That's it.
internally. So yeah, Ollama is at least in the Raspberry Pi. um, it worked.
Yeah, it will work. It will work, but just a slow bit, but it will work.
But local AI, I think when we did the experiment, it was slower. Ollama was faster, and the trick is just for people that this is for edge, right? Quantize, like use for one that is like not high precision, right? You won't get the best results. But if you're going to run a Raspberry Pi, do that. But if you're going to, I know we're out of time, but and I got the Jetson, and the Jetson is super faster than the Raspberry Pi because I have a GPU now in my
Okay.
desk, so we'll show that next week. But thank you so much, Nipandra, for showing on this. I learned a lot. Yeah, thank you to show LangFlow. That's lowers the barrier to entry, right?
Yeah, it
For a lot
is.
of folks that because the Python code you did it like with your eyes closed, right?
Yeah.
Because and then if you know Python and like where how do I install the library and like put all this together, like the GUI thing actually helps you like write
Yeah,
the
you
software and then
quickly get
wrappers,
there,
right?
yes. Yeah, yeah. The biggest question for me was, okay, I wrote some Python code, how I'm going to actually invoke it, right? How would I actually look it from my UI? But once I saw it, okay, now it's giving me everything. I can quickly do that.
Very interesting, very
Right.
interesting. And then I saw like yeah, the model integration is like the very small thing, right? So
Yeah.
like one liner to code an API with the string, and then you get a
Yes.
string back.
Yes.
And then
So,
people think that that's the most complicated thing, and it's not. It's like thinking about like what is the input and the prompt and the function calling, and then like getting text, right, and building that prompt that you saw, right?
even that is,
Um,
I believe it's not going to be too much difficult. Like, see, all the developers are smart people, right? I would say, right? They have been
I'm trying
doing
to
all of,
say are people that I'm seeing online are not coders. People are
huh.
trying like to do this stuff. Like they're using ChatGPT to write code. I saw someone that like wrote the whole thing without any coding. But for coders, yeah, it's
Of course,
a
it may be for our people like us who have been not dealing with the code day in, day out. It is like difficult, but people who have been coding, this is like
yeah.
big thing for them. And they
Yeah, I
understand all the
haven't coded
concepts
Python in
quickly.
a while, and I got
Yeah,
back into it. I'm liking. I think going to stick for a while.
yeah,
With Python, it's very powerful.
yeah.
Um,
So tell me about your this thing also, right? Your agent once you have built it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'm kind of like building in terms of like a tutorial.
Mm-hmm.
With I'm learning Python notebooks, so it's
Mm-hmm.
easier to like give a class or a course
Yeah,
with a
yeah, it
like
is.
because you're explaining things, right?
Yeah,
I found it like it's very useful, but
yeah, it is. It is.
then I get stuck because then I want to create like the CLI binary, like oh my code is sitting in a notebook, so it started like then you get to the point that you're like maybe I should write functions, right, and then use the code in the in the notebook and in my code, and then share the code between the both
Mm-hmm.
and little functions. So functions, building the thing with functions. um, but yeah, I picked a I was looking for things that the use cases for a model not knowing the answer, because that's what I want to teach, right? I
Yes.
want to like show you an example. Here's the prompt. So we have a tool called ECAS demo. I'm going to put the link. It's a CLI to create ECAS clusters, and I think that one of the models knew about it, but I was
Mm-hmm.
looking for a model that didn't know anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm using a model that doesn't know anything about it. So I put the prompt like create an EKS cluster with 3 nodes in 2 availability zones with this,
Mm-hmm.
and the model says I cannot help you. Okay, well
Mm-hmm.
how do we make the model smarter? And then I show like let's give it some context,
Correct.
just a little big paragraph, and then the context is basically the running the CLI help output, and I take
Mm-hmm.
all the help output, and then I asked the same question again, and the
Yes.
tool actually gave me the right command CLI flags to run it, and then the next thing is teaching people like, well, if the thing is giving me a tool function call, how do I execute it? So just Python exec, right? And I was
Mm-hmm.
able to create the cluster, and then the next questions of like
Mm-hmm.
get the
Correct.
logs
Correct.
and like what is wrong with my cluster, and using case GPT, and it doesn't know anything about case GPT, so I need to train it with that CLI. So it's like training
Correct.
the thing with the tools, and that was just a help. The next thing I saw is people are just pointing to the GitHub repo and
Mm-hmm.
then downloading all the source code in Go.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly is in Go, and that becomes the RAG. So now the
Hmm.
model has like all the possible knowledge about the source code, like the
Correct.
internals, and it can
Yeah.
actually figure out what is the
Oh,
CLI
that's
still running.
interesting. That's interesting. Hmm.
Um, but yeah, that's just to teach people like the model doesn't have to have all the answers, right? You have to do it like teach it with context or give it the context.
Hmm.
Shuba, if you join the Slack, I posted videos there. If not, you can look for the playlist in YouTube, and also we have a linking page where we also put the linking page. But I'll put it here on, and then we'll conclude with that. Let me 1 second. Uh, is in this is the playlist. Shuba, put it in the link. Um, and I think I have it in the notes. Yeah, in the notes at the top, there's a book club video playlist. And Slack, you have to go to Slack is also in the notes. The information is in the is note with the links and everything. So welcome, Chuba. Hope that you enjoyed the show today. We talk a little bit about the what's happening with security. I get we cover security today, right? We cross strike. And
Yeah, there's
then
multiple
we
things.
cover LangChain and LangFlow. So thank you so much, and thank you everyone that joined today. We're top of the hour, and the folks that joined.
Thanks.
So we'll see you next week. Sergio should be back. I think he was planning to show something around like installing Argo, and then configuring Argo in the
Yes,
Raspberry Pi. And I also playing with I'm back on Knative for inference. Kubeflow uses
yep,
Kserve, and Kserve uses Knative. So I think I'm going to get my hands dirty with Knative again, running on my GPU to do inference one at a time, and then sharing a GPU. And so
yep.
I'm learning about slicing GPUs, and then mix, and then time slicing and CUDA slicing. So interesting.
That's great. Yep, very interesting. Yes.
Okay, we'll see you folks.
Okay.
I'll stop the recording. I'll see you next